Hey guys, what's going on? John Jones is going to be joining us in just a second because we're going to be talking about some GDPR and what that means. So as soon as I get him on here, as you pop in, make sure you say hi. Tell me if you're live and hashtag replay if you're catching the replay. What's up, Chance? There he is. There's my homie. John Jones in the house. Hold on. How do I already invited you. There it is. Did you get my invitation, John? John Jones! I love that your profile picture is the Mad Hatter. That's like awesome for me. I'm waiting for John to pop on. John, did you get an invitation for me to join? Maybe I need to like disconnect it and then do it again. Okay. Try it again, John, if you haven't. There we go. Yay! Yay! Be fun. It says it's adding you. Adding. It's blinking. Are you? Oh, there we are. Yay!
Hello. Awesome stuff.
Aww.
I'm gonna drop my phone over here or something just to.
Yeah, I was gonna do Zoom, but
so you can
Zoom's been jacking up on me every now and
That's
again,
better.
so I'm kind of testing it both ways, doing the phone and then doing the Zoom thing. So, hi, John.
Hello. I'm just going to bring it up on my screen as well so I can see comments because I know Facebook's been a bit of an arse recently with comments online.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm gonna pull up my laptop too and just make sure that I can see it too. See, I wasn't even fully prepared. So I know we said 12. We're 15 minutes early, but it's because John was supposed to have his barber come, and the barber kind of, he clearly he hasn't had the barber come yet.
Yeah.
But we wanted to do this, and I'm actually just going to introduce you real quick and just tell everybody because you know this is how I do. So John and I have been connected for quite some time. I feel like it's been a year that we've been connected. We met through maybe it's been
definitely quite a while.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. We met through the Gorillas, getting clients without being salesy. And now actually John was one of the people that took over the reins, like that me and Dustin Belvin initially had. We were all moderators. We were like the original gangsters of the Gorilla crew, the jungle as it were. But so John, he's in the UK and he's actually quite a phenomenal person at testing things with Facebook as far as like interaction, algorithm. He's not a tester like, you know, like a freaking, unless maybe you are, but he's a interactive, like a human being, like interaction tester on Facebook specifically. And I love that you do this, and you've really done some really cool making sure that like things are legitimately happening, whatever. So if you want to talk about algorithm testing, this is the guy that you need to listen to and pay attention to when he gives you his feedback, because he's doing it real time. He's not just using some bullshit app. He's really just saying, hey guys, try this and then come back and talk to me. Hey, human being people, go try this and come back and talk to me. And I love that about you. I love that you're about true relationships, true interactions, and connecting. And more recently, there is this whole thing going on about the GDPR. I did a little bit of research real quick in the last couple of days, and I realized that it actually took effect in April of 2016, but it's something that's been like, you know, floating around in our brains on the US side because of all this shit that happened with Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg going in front of Congress, the whole thing with, you know, with Cambria, all of it, the data breach, all of it. And it's important that we know what this means, especially as group owners, especially as people who are marketing all these different communities. So John messaged me a couple of days ago and said, hey, listen, I just invested a shit ton of money into getting certified on this. I've been fully
Yeah.
educated. I can speak intelligently about this, and I would love to serve your community and tell you all what you need to know. So I'm going to shut up now. Thank you very much for coming to join us. And what the hell is GDPR and why does it matter to all of us?
Okay, so the GDPR in a nutshell is the General Data Protection Regulation. So it's in a language that we'll all understand, it stops cheesy salespeople from marketing to you. There is also a secondary function, which is the security side. But for the basis of today's live, we're going to focus on the marketing side because you know, there's zero benefit for me going into how the security is meant to work because that's a whole different ballgame altogether. However, for the sense of marketing, what the GDPR protects is that I can't just look you up on Google, Trish, get your email address and start spamming you with shit. It doesn't work like that. And that's when you get in trouble. Because with the introduction of the data protection regulations coming in the next couple of weeks, there's a whole new reporting structure around this. And from what they're looking at is the first way to look at it is GDPR has always been here. It's not a new thing. You know, marketing correctly is not a new concept.
Right.
And people are really, yeah, it's, you know, we've been marketing since, you know, way before the internet,
Since
you know, door-to-door
literally since
sales.
newspapers came about, I feel like, or even templates, right? When people were like literally etching into templates, that was a form of marketing, right?
Absolutely. And this is the thing, it's a lot of, you've got two sort of flavors of business owner. You've got the ones that say, I don't care the slightest about GDPR. And then you've got the ones that say, okay, it's brand new. I want to learn about this and I want to roll with it. They're the ones that are going to be successful. You know, none of this, oh, I'm just going to ignore it and it'll go away because it's not going away. GDPR is marketing protection just with a new label, new set of fines, new way of doing things. If you don't roll with the punches, you'll get hit with the punches. It's as simple as that. So the basis of GDPR is quite simple. If you're not acting like a douche canoe, you're gonna be all right. If you play fair, you know, you're gonna be all right. And that is exactly what I say to people when they talk to me about GDPR is just look it up, have a research, and if you're concerned, ask questions, because the only way we find out things is by asking questions. And I say this to people all the time. People say, well, you can't do X, Y, Z. Well, you can, but you just need to be smart about it. You know, because I always say to people, the junior knows the rules, the veteran knows the exceptions. And that's always what I say to people. You know, it's not about trying to break the rules. It's knowing exactly where your boundaries are. And this is why I invest in these courses and understandings and certifications isn't so that I know how to behave, it's how far I can misbehave. Because risk is all a big part of business, and I'm not saying go out and take big risks, but unless you know where your limitations are, you'll never come out of your comfort zone to explore those limitations. So it's definitely, you know, with GDPR, don't get worried. That's the main part. Don't panic.
And
It's not going to rewrite everything.
well,
You
so
know.
and I like that you said that. So here's where first of all, Shara, that's really funny. I know you're laughing at douche canoe. Douche canoe is a very commonly used term that the sales gorilla Landon Porter uses to address people who don't know how to effectively connect with their audience, form relationships, and just like spam people like crazy, and don't look somebody up before they send them a freaking Facebook Messenger inbox and go,
Yeah.
hey, I build sales funnels. Do you need sales funnels? Like, congratulations, jackass that just bought into, you know, the ClickFunnels account and is trying to make their affiliate marketing first big buck. Like, Yeah, you're like one of like millions of people who know how to do sales funnels. And by the way,
Yeah,
if you just glance at my Facebook
absolutely.
page once in a while, you would see that I got a guy for that. But so a couple of things, and I think that this is important because, you know, I'm sure there are people in this group who they join the group and then they're just like sitting idly, they don't interact, they don't do anything. And this is like my message to those people. And John feels the same way. John and I, this is why I'm connected with John, because John and I are like, we're both the same person. Like, it's if you
Yeah,
legitimately give a crap about people, like legitimately care, and it's not the dollar at
yeah,
the end of the day that you're going to make off of that person. If you legitimately care about that person, then you're going to understand how important it is to form those relationships with that person, to get to know them, to find out what they truly need help with. You might even find out that you're not a good fit to work together, no matter what, right? But if you legitimately care about people, then this doesn't even really, you don't have to worry about this whole thing, right? Because that means that you're probably not spamming people already, like to begin with. But if you're somebody who you get a business card and you immediately start sending emails to people for shit that they probably don't even need, right? Then you need to be worried about that. Then you need to be definitely going onto the interwebs and looking up what GDPR is, which you can and cannot do, and make sure that you're not
yeah,
doing the dumb shit because you're going to get fined or you're going to get shut down, bottom line,
mm,
right? Yes, there's
yeah,
free marketing. Yes, there's free speech, but there's also data breaches and, and spamming people, and that's not okay. That is not good
yeah,
business. That is not good integrity. That's shitty, and that's what most people are people are leaving Facebook every day because of that. Like, they don't trust it, right? So you're making a bad name for those of us who don't do that, for those of us who create communities like this one that are free, and we bring people on to educate you on this stuff. So
mm,
that's really what I want to say out loud. And guys, I'm going to say this one more time. Like, we're doing Facebook Live, but the whole reason why I love Facebook Lives is storytelling. You don't have to worry about spamming people. If
mm,
you are sharing your story, you are going to attract the right people to you to begin with. Like, it's not that difficult, right? I'm not telling you all have to go Facebook Live. I'm just saying, like, instead of spamming, tell a story. You might find that it resonates with
yeah.
people and they're like, "Oh my god, I want to learn more about what you do." Blah blah blah. So, John, what do you do? Like, I feel like I explained that when I invited you on here and I introduced you, but other than learning about algorithms, what exactly do you do?
Mm. Okay, so my my business by day, you know, superhero by night. I'm an IT consultant, so I work with domestic-based, agile-based, and office-based businesses to improve productivity through better technology. That is the nutshell of my business. So I'll have a business owner come to me and say, "Hey, I have a problem with my technology." I'll go into the business and I sit down with them, I work with them and say, these are your options. You've always got more than one option. Pick the one that's best for you and let's roll with it. And then I help them understand the limitations on going low end and the benefits of going high end. And this is what I work with, you know, so that I don't say you're having this because that defeats the purpose of being a consultant. I guide rather than lead. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, aren't consultants meant to lead? And I say, I work with people. I don't expect people to stand behind me and just listen to what I say. I want people to be in front of me. I want people to be next to me so that we are face to face. I don't want people looking at the back of my head, and I don't want to be staring at the back of other people's heads. I want to be face to face so that people better understand what's ahead of them in the long
Mm-hmm.
run. So it's always about the long game. It's never about just helping someone in the moment. It's helping people understand that I'm here for the long game. Come to me when you need something and let's work together on it.
Mm-hmm. No, I love
And
that.
that's what I do.
I love that. You're a
Mm,
connector too. So, and that's what I do. That's my whole thing, the expert connection for a reason. Um, so one of the main reasons why you and I started chatting this week about all of this is because I was promoting group funnels, and I promoted group funnels on my personal page, and somebody in the UK commented on it. I think it was D commented on it and said, you know, how does this affect, you know, is this a violation of GDPR? And in a nutshell, this was your answer to, you actually messaged me privately, but in a nutshell, so I want to address this real quick, guys. If you own a group, if you're running a group, even if you have an idea to start a group, one of the ways, it's an awesome opportunity to grow your email list, and you can do that congruently with abiding by GDPR, right? So sometimes we've heard this before. You can ask the same question 5 different ways, but one of those ways is going to be the most effective, right? So instead of just saying, and I'm actually going to reword my question now, because now I'm like, oh, okay, now I don't have to do a double opt-in. This is freaking cool, okay? So there's a piece, it's Article 7, because I remember looking it up specifically. Within Article 7, the GDPR states that you have to have a question that specifically says, this is what's going to happen, and the person has to say, yes, I am giving you my permission to send me an email with your information, okay? So right now, today, my question says, you know, something, I think I've got it structured to say, in an effort to prohibit spam, you know, please provide your email address. When you do, I will send you my free 5-minute Facebook Lives guide, whatever, right? And not everybody gives me their email address. I still let them in the group. I'm not like holding that by a thing. But if they're just going to be a douche about it and go, well, now I'm rethinking joining this group because you're asking me for your email address. Okay, well then screw you. Don't join the group. Like, whatever. Like, don't be a jackass, right? But John was saying, and I want you to say it because there is a different way that you can word it, a specific verbiage that you can use where you're asking the entire question. And by them giving the email address, that's them saying, yes, I acknowledge it. So tell me what you told me to say.
Okay, so I'm just pulling up our conversation that we had because
there you go, cheat. I love it.
Yeah, I say things in the moment and they're absolutely perfect, and then trying to remember what I've said is another matter entirely. So it is. So the wording that I use specifically is, we give you lead magnet so that you can result. If you agree to this, please add your email address below, otherwise leave blank. Now, with the new GDPR policy, people have to have a choice. It's all about choice.
Gotcha.
So as a marketer, so by, you know, whether you don't let people into your group or do let people into your group as a result of providing the email address is your choice. Okay. You know, that's down to yourself. We're not going to say do or don't do it. It's how you run your group. It's your group, your rules, your sandbox. But by saying, if you do want this, add your email address. If you don't want it, don't add your email address. And then that gives you the fully qualified and compliant way that if they've added their email address, they have purposely given you that with permission. If they don't add it, it's not for you to go off and try and find it. It's just that they're not comfortable at this time or haven't quite felt the connection to provide you with that information. Then tied in with the whole group funnels application, that means you're also getting a screenshot or a picture of the proof to say, yes, let me.
Oh, you froze up.
There we go. Sorry,
okay,
I had to pause that. It's I've got ring.
So with the screenshot, say that again.
Oh, the group funnels gives you like a copy of everything that's said. So because I don't actively use the group funnels because my group's still growing, so I haven't used the application itself yet. But Trish, is it my understanding that the group funnels gives you a copy of what the questions were and the answers, or
Yes,
for the entry
what it
point?
happens is it goes to a Google spreadsheet where you have
Yeah.
you give it column column names, and it's like, hey, question one,
Yeah.
answer one, question two, answer two, to question three,
Yeah.
and then the date that they joined your group. So it goes into a spreadsheet, and that's your data, right?
Yeah.
Your data, whatever. And then you can either
Yeah.
download it onto a CSV file for your records, or you can just push it to your uh push it to Zapier. So it's, yeah. And they're actually working right now. I think that Matt and Arnie are working right now where you don't even need to have that I think that it just automatically sends the information to whatever email list automation system that you
Yeah.
use, whether it's ActiveCampaign or MailChimp. So yes.
No, absolutely. And that, as I said, it's all about the choice. And when people talk about single and double opt-in, people say, oh, I've got to have now explicit permission. That is correct. But explicit permission doesn't have to be a screen grab. It doesn't have to be physically something that's not editable. It just means if, for whatever reason, you are asked about compliance, you can produce this information upon request. That is what the compliance is. It's not so much, half of it is whether you've got the permission to, the other half is producing that information upon request. So if I had been using group funnels and then someone's made a complaint and the commission office contact me to say, we want what data you have and the proof of concept, I can get this spreadsheet and send it to them and say, this is what I use. That's why an application like group funnels is absolutely paramount, because you're not having to write down every single thing. And because I use Wix, and my website, I get an email from Wix and they get dragged into a folder. So if someone says, what information have you got? Here you go, have everything, have at it, sort it yourself. I've done my part of the bargain, you can deal with the rest. And it's just being able to prove that at some point you were given explicit permission to use that person's email and name.
The other piece to this, and this is something, because on the US specifically, I think it's all over the world, but I'm not going to make any assumptions, but I know in the US you get hard fines if you don't have your email address on the bottom of the emails, or your physical address in the bottom of your emails, and also if you don't have an opportunity for that person to unsubscribe from your email list. So that's like an option within an option, right? Like every single email that I send out to my list, they can unsubscribe. Same thing with chat bots. You tell them, hey, you can just type stop at any time and unsubscribe to this.
Okay, so in regards to the marketing email itself, so there's two things that have to be present. The first is, if it's the very first email, if you haven't produced the privacy policy, all businesses that are good businesses should have some form of privacy policy which explains how your data is used. That is always the first, very, I'm going to say mature business, because you're not an immature business if you don't have a privacy policy, because it may just not be something that you've got to yet. But a good company should always be very open and honest about how data is used. With emails, it must always be as easy to opt in as it is to opt out. So don't think it's easy to opt out as it is to in. It must be easy both directions, because it all comes back to choice. Do I want the content or don't I want the content?
Right.
I was sent an email the other day from I've dabbled in a bit of online trading with various stocks, and now I'm getting spam left, right, and center by emails. And in this email, it doesn't have an opt-out. And I thought, right, here we go. So I've actually phoned the company up. I says, you guys are marketing to me. Where's the opt-out? Well, we don't need one. Well, give it 2 weeks. I think you do, buddy. But brings me on to another topic, which I will get to in a moment. But basically, in short, you need a very obvious opt out at the bottom of the email or somewhere. Most people put it at the bottom because they want people to go through all your content to get to the bottom. Like going in the supermarket, when you go to buy bread, they put it right at the back because you've got to walk past everything else before you get to the bread. It's the same as marketing. If they want to leave, they've got to walk past all the alcohol, they've got to walk past all the nice sweets, the cookies, and so you still want them to see the content, even though they're making a beeline for the exit. It's the same with the whole email opt-in and opt-out. The email address isn't necessarily important as long as it's a valid reply to address. So if they can hit reply and get to you, you don't have to put it in the email. But if the reply to goes to a dead space, yes, there has to be a form of contact.
Okay.
Or a link to your website, some way of getting in contact with you.
Hey guys, I want to mention this real quick for the privacy policy piece. Now, some of you might have something that's like a little bit more wacky, like maybe a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more complicated kind of business. If your business is a little bit more complicated, then your privacy policy, you probably want to reach out to a business attorney and have somebody write something up for you. But if it's pretty basic, if it's a really basic business, like pretty simple, and you don't have too many things happening, you don't have like 15,000 e-commerce things going on, you're not doing drop shipping and all that kind of crazy stuff, which I don't touch that for my life. But if it's pretty basic, you can actually go to, especially in the US, you can go to the Better Business Bureau, and they've actually got privacy policy, like basic templates that you can use. And just, you got to make sure that you go through it and read it. And that's what I did. I went through it, I read it, I made sure that it obviously sounded like me too, and it's all true, and it's got my website information and all of my stuff, and that there's an opportunity for people to contact me via email about that information, whatever. But you make sure you've got that. Keep it simple. Keep it simple with your privacy policy. If you don't need anything too complicated, but definitely look into that. Like, that's what the interwebs are for. The internet is for. There's everything's Better Business Bureau in the US. There's equivalent thing in the UK and all over the world, I'm sure. So just make sure that you cover your ass big time, and that if you do have a website, which you should, even if it's super basic, like, John's got Wix, for Christ's sake. Wix is like, there's commercials on all the time for Wix saying, hey, we'll build your website for free. Like, what do you pay a month for that, by the way? Because now I'm kind of curious.
Oh, okay. So for Wix, I actually pay about 150 a year. I'm trying to get my phone stand up here with the charger in. Here we go. I pay about £150 a year. But and I've had so many WordPress people contact me about this, saying, "Hey, buddy, I can save you money." I don't want to save money. I want to be able to edit my own site. I want to, I'm quite technical when it comes to technology stuff. I like dabbling in being able to do my own site.
Yeah.
So I've said I'm not generally interested in moving away from Wix because it works for me. And so I pay about £150 a year. I think that's about it's coming up to the $200 mark a year. But I budget for this. The business budgets for this. So it's not something that I'm busting the business over. And I've been doing it for 5-6 years. So it's not something that I have to retrain myself. I haven't got the time at the moment to retrain myself, finances wise, without sounding too much of a cheapskate. I don't want to be paying 3-4 grand a year for a WordPress professional to be doing my site because I don't need them.
No, I feel the same way. I've got a basic WordPress site, but I'm not techie. My husband's building his own website. This is like the 3rd or 4th time he's having to build a website himself now because the people, he had a WordPress guy do it. He paid the guy, like, I think $1,500, and the guy did a lousy job. So that pissed him off.
And that's what I'm worried about.
But yeah.
And off of it, because I've used Wix for so long now, for so many years, I've got in my local area, I have new startups asking me about my site, and I say, hey, let's sit down together. Why don't we spend a bit of time, and I can teach you how to run your own website without actually getting someone else involved. But that's a different story altogether. That's one of my side niches, rather than I have to set time aside for that. if I'm going to do that with someone. But generally speaking, Wix comes with a really nice basic marketing tool, which is called Wix Shoutouts. So it actually does it all for you. You literally, like you build a web page, you build your marketing email, and you just hit send, and it does the rest for you. And I like that because when someone opts in on my website, it goes into a specific list. If someone contacts me, it goes into a specific list.
That's awesome.
So I can just send it to subscribers.
That's awesome. I need to get something like that set up. I need to learn how to do that with my WordPress site. I'm sure that there's a way to do that. I'm just not savvy enough to do all of it. And I don't have to know how to do all of it because there's people who I can reach out to who I know how to do all that stuff. But that's like on my list of like my priority right now is really ramping up. That's like my being accountable thing is working on my email list. So the other thing that I want to mention real quick, I want to mention this real quick. This is important too for those of you who might be a little bit newer to this whole, marketing thing. Maybe you have ClickFunnels, lead pages, whatever you have. If you are running Facebook ads, I want to say this because I not got in trouble, but it was something that was pointed out to me a long time ago, and I was just like, oh, I didn't know that. Like I didn't realize because there's some of this stuff. It's like fine print. You don't know what you need to know until somebody tells you, hey, by the way, you need to know this. There's not like a internet marketing handbook necessarily, right? Like, with highlighted chapters. So, but I will say this, you need to know this. Especially if you're running Facebook ads, one of the terms of service with Facebook ads is wherever you're sending people to, if they're clicking on something, whatever that thing is that they're clicking on, the landing page, your website, if you're going directly to your website, cool, you've got a privacy policy on there. But if you're sending somebody to a landing page that has like an opt-in or whatever, you need to make sure that the link to your website's privacy policy is on the bottom of that page or somewhere where they can clearly click on that and find out what are you gonna do with this information once I give it to you, right? That's marketing, interwebs marketing, especially on Facebook or anywhere you're running ads, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You better make sure that you have that privacy policy embedded on that first page, and really every page, but definitely that first page. So please elaborate, John, if there's anything else that they need to know in conjunction with that.
No, absolutely. Your privacy policy is your suit and armor against GDPR. That is the real crux of it. Is a solid privacy policy is literally your sword and shield, and that's the best way that I can put it. Every kind of content, every kind of marketing, every single piece of everything that you put out there, your privacy policy should always be with you. Think of your privacy policy as your new business card edition, and you can't go wrong as long as people can easily access. Because if people go to my website, permanently up the top in big bold letters says privacy policy. Everywhere up and down the page at the bottom it says privacy policy. If someone goes to my newsletter sign up, in fact, my newsletter sign up, I've even got there a watered down FAQ of my privacy policy specifically to marketing on the newsletter. And it's GDPR recommends, although it's not solid, sort of has to be done, sometimes providing a very basic FAQ about what we do and don't do with your data attracts more people because you've taken the time to actually help them understand. And that just gives authority straight away. This person has my best interest because he's made it easy for me. So, Trish, I'm quite happy that, not that people have to come and sign up because mine's all IT related stuff, so if that's not of an interest, that's absolutely cool. But if people do visit my Facebook page or whatever, and they do come across my newsletter page, I'm quite happy for people to go and have a look at what my privacy policy is, how I water it down into very easy manageable questions, because that's the way forward. Being human, not just copy and paste templates. And that's going to win you clients at the end of the day, is having your clients' best interests, even to the point of first contact. That is exactly how people are going to better relate to you, as if you help them by helping yourself.
100%. I think that's fantastic. I think that's a really good idea. In fact, it's making me want to do that. Again, that's why I wanted to interview you. And I might even embed this freaking video within my privacy policy. I'm not even kidding you. Guys, that's why I love doing these. My entire purpose, and John's known me long enough, I literally launched the Expert Connection with Trish Leto because I'm bringing on experts from all different walks of life, all different industries and niches and whatever. But my purpose is to educate myself and my audience. If I'm educating you, I'm winning, guys. At the end of the day, I'm winning. I've had people reach out to me and go, oh my God, I didn't know, insert whatever topic, and say, thank you so much for doing that interview with that person. I just learned so much, right? So I'm learning a ton. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm glad that we're doing this interview, because I might not even do the entire thing. I might break it up, edit it a little bit, pull out some things here and there. But, you know, not only that, but it's educating those people and then giving them direct reference to John Jones, who's a guy who literally just invested a good chunk of change to learn all about this stuff, right? So God bless him. He deserves to get a little traffic driven his way.
Absolutely, though.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, is the only stupid question is the one that isn't asked.
Correct. 100%.
And
I learned that shit in military,
moral.
let me tell you. Oh, well, until they said, Jesus Christ, Angelo, really? You don't know that shit?
And that's it. If people want to reach out to me, I'm happy for people to land in my inbox and say, hey, John, I've got a question about GDPR, because it takes me only a couple of minutes to say, hey, this is the way that you should be following, and here's a guideline or some hints and tips. You know, if someone's saying, John, sit down and teach me, we'll talk. Let's organize something. Great. I'll put some time aside and let's get you up to speed. But if it's a general question, you know, John, I'm not too sure about XYZ. Sure, you need to do ABC.
Yeah.
And that's how I help people, because at the end of the day, free content is fantastic. And if the free content is good, people say, you know, if this is free, what will I get for really booking this guy's time to go into it? And that's a very good sort of thing to consider. This is why I love helping people, but it's not about the bucks at the end of the day. If I can help one person stop getting an invoice through the door for lots of money, I've done my job. And I can sleep at night knowing that I've helped at least one person by bettering themselves through understanding.
Yeah, you're literally, I mean, this interview alone, think about as many times as I'm going to repurpose it too, right? This interview alone is probably going to help a shit ton of people. Seriously. Because even the people who don't ask, right, aren't like going, hey, what's the deal with GDPR? Doesn't mean that they're not looking that shit up on the internet and going, I don't understand what all this means, right?
Yeah.
And listen, like,
people
I want to say this out loud, okay? To those of you who are, I'm saying this out loud because even if it's not somebody in my group, if you're watching this on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever you might be watching this video, if you're doing any kind of network marketing, multi-level marketing, I don't care if you're selling makeup for Unique, if you're selling shakes for Beachbody, you're selling a workout program, this applies to you too, okay? Because the marketing materials that they're giving you is they're covering their ass, but you are a representative for that company. You're representing them as a private contractor, right? So you need to cover your ass. You're being 1099. You need to cover your ass and make the SIA policy, right? Cover y'all ass. Make sure that you are abiding by these rules, these regulations, these policies. As long, like he said, like the two most important things, make sure that privacy policy is on your website, wherever your website is, and make sure you have your opt-out on your emails. And your opt-out is just as easy to find as the opt-in was, right? Don't spam people. And make sure that you're not messaging people who don't give a shit about your stuff on Facebook. Like, go connect with people, for Christ's sake. Make that relationship happen, right? If you listen, I'm going to say this out loud because I did this for a long time and it's awful, but I'm going to say it because I identify with this. All right. If you see somebody who's overweight, but they're not making any kind of thing out there about how they want to lose weight, don't message them and say, hey, fat ass, I've got this great weight loss shake for you. Like, don't do that.
Yeah,
But if
it's
you see somebody who's
yeah.
heavy, and I'm being honest, it's the same. Look, guys, this is a blanket statement, okay? If you see somebody who is clearly overweight and they're saying things like, hey, I'm trying this new diet, right? Or I'm trying this, or I'm trying that, then maybe message them and say, hey, I saw your post about the new diet that you're trying. I've got this meal plan thing that I put together based on some great results that I've had. I'm happy to send it to you totally for free. Try it out, right? And then say, maybe I can follow up with you in a week and you can tell me what you think, right? Now it's, hey, I've seen that you're already talking about this thing. Here's something that I've already developed that I myself am using. It's totally free. I'm giving this to you. Value up front. You care about the person. And then you're asking them for permission to follow up. And then they'll be like, oh, you know what? Hell yeah, I'll take that. That sounds great. You know, I'll give it a shot. And then follow up with them. And if they tell you, yeah, you know what, then leave it the hell alone. And it's true with,
definitely.
it's the same thing with anything, guys. It's, hey, get to know the person first. If they say that they need help with a website, then freaking reach out to them about a website. But if you're just going to their website and saying your website sucks, I can help you, don't do that. Don't do that. I can help you for $150. That's being a douche canoe.
Yeah,
if you go
absolutely.
instead, and John, I'm sure you do this.
So
right? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm just I'm just going to add at the end. If people want to follow me, I am doing a private webinar in about a week and a half's time, a couple of days before the GDPR comes into play. Two things. I'm doing a webinar about the do's and don'ts of data usage, specifically around connecting with people. You know, things like, I'm given a business card. Does that give me the right to message them? Yes, it does, but you can't market to them. Little bits of advice like that, and going into detail about the do's and don'ts of what to do with a business card, what your limitations are, and how to really benefit from knowing the right way to do it. And you're not going to get in trouble with the person you're marketing to, and you're not going to get in trouble with the GDPR.
That's really important. I want to ask you this real quick. Okay. I've literally been holding this in my hand. Okay. No, I'm not shitting you. So my husband, he was a part of a BNI group for a long time. Okay. I did a lot about this the other day, but I just want to show you. I've got a stupid 2 stacks of business cards. Okay. I never messaged any of these people yet. Okay. But if I wanted to send these people an email, I would be 100% transparent and say, hey, I'm just throwing this out there. Hey, listen, my husband got your business card from a recent BNI meeting. And I'm getting ready to hold this event here locally in Tampa. Would you be interested in attending? And then say something like, by the way, you can opt out of receiving any other email from me right here. Is that okay?
Okay, so that's 50-50. Now, the contacting them part is completely legitimate because you are contacting them by expressing your right to free contact. There is nothing saying that you cannot contact somebody about business. And as long as you have a relevant interest to provide information to somebody, that's the basis of your contact. What you can't do is market to them in the first contact. You need to get them to say, hey, yes, that sounds cool, or I'm really interested. So if I were in your position and I wanted to send you an email, I'd say, hey Trish, we met a long time ago, or we met, so I've found your business card in my stack of business cards, and I think I have some content coming up that I think you'd really benefit from for XYZ. Are you interested in staying up to date with this information? If they respond to you and say, absolutely, then you've got that permission to market to them. Get them on your email list, get them that welcome introduction email about the benefits, and give them the option to opt out if so. If you say, hey, I found your business card and we had the conversation around cars, I've got this model, that model, that model, that, no, don't do it. You know, you cannot market to somebody in the first contact.
Okay, so it's got to be, so again, it's all about the question, the way that you, and again, I'm not saying like to twist it, but it's all about the question, the way that you ask. Would you, so basically it would be, are you still interested in learning more about that information? If so, let me know. And then that reply to them is, cool, here's that information.
It's all about choice.
Right. Give them the option.
Do you want to or do you not want to? Yeah.
Okay. I love this. No, this is great. I love it. I love it. So, okay. And that's actually really, that's good advice. And that's really and truly, that's advice. Just don't do it shady, guys. Like, like, don't be shady about it. Like, tell them exactly what you got, what you're going to be sending them. Like, yeah, because I've seen, you know what I'm talking about. There's some shady crap out there. Oh, okay, cool. Here's a link. It's only $3,000 a year.
Yeah, totally.
You know, so
what I'm gonna do, Trish, is I'm gonna shoot off because the barber is here.
Okay, cool.
And she's waiting to get hold of me hair.
Yeah, tell her. Have at it. Have at it. She's got a lawnmower.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. And if anyone wants to connect with me around GDPR, they are more than welcome to. You've got my explicit permission.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks for having me on, Trish, and hope to speak to people in the near future.
I appreciate you, John, very much. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend, and go get that haircut because you're looking a little rough there, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so lovely. Thanks for having us on. I'll speak to everyone later.
Bye, buddy.